Okay, so today I'm going to be trying out something new and trying a sous vide controller to help with the mash in a homebrew batch. So I'm going to be doing an all grain recipe. Um, it's going to be an Irish dry stout, although that doesn't really matter for our purposes. Okay, let's take a look at some of the equipment here. So first off, this is the sous vide controller. It's an Innova model. Um, You'll see how it's mounted and everything here shortly. But basically it plugs into the wall through this power cord here. And if I can open this up, this bottom part is the only part that actually contacts the water, or in our case the wort. And you can see there are min and max lines. And you have to get the water line in between there, and that's actually a little tough on a pot this big. So I'm actually doing a 4-gallon batch, which is a little bit of a weird size, but it's so that the liquid level gets between these marks. So you can actually disassemble this. So let's do that if I can. There we go. So it has this stainless steel metal sleeve that you can take off. And then inside here at the bottom there's an impeller. This is basically moves the liquid around, acts like a pump kind of when the housing is on it. There's a large, all this is stainless steel. There's a large heating coil, and there's a temperature sensor and a couple of other sensors to detect like if the liquid level is, if it's out of water. It'll shut off automatically if you pull it out of water. Okay, so the brew pot I'm using is nothing special. It's an aluminum pot, and it's got it's 7 gallons capacity. It's pretty wide. Down here in the bottom it has a I guess it's a steaming tray or something. But the convenient thing is we can put this on there during the mash, and we can keep the grain bag off of the bottom of the pot, which is kind of nice, so nothing gets burned. So anyway, I'll show the configuration more in a second. Okay, so I've got the Innova mounted on the brew pot, so you can see it's just sits on the edge of the pot, and there's a little screw-in kind of clamp that comes in. Another important thing here is you'll notice the basically this acts like a pump, so it pulls liquid in here through these vents, and then it shoots it back out here through this little opening. So you want to kind of make sure that that opening is where you want it. I don't really know what the best way is for that opening, whether you want it shooting directly at the grain or against the side of the pot, or I don't know, but we'll find out. Okay, so I just hit the temperature. Ended up doing a couple of things while it was getting up to the strike temperature. One, I pulled, as you can kind of see here, I pulled the grain bag, the bottom of it kind of out of the pot a little bit. That's because it was actually pulling the empty grain bag kind of into the intake for the pump on the Innova, and I didn't want it doing that, so I kind of pulled it out. The other thing is I kept my main burner on full blast for most of getting up to the temperature, and then towards the end I turned it down. I've still got the burner on right now, but it's on as low as it can go. So anyway, and I did decide to go ahead and turn the Innova on to get up to the strike temperature. I figured because it's just plain water, I didn't have to worry about anything caramelizing to the heating coil in the Innova, which I've read other places is a problem. So I won't do that when I've got wort in there, but I figured, hey, boost it up. And it took, let's see, how many minutes? It took 29 minutes to go from 80 degree water to 157 degrees, which was the strike temperature. So I'll go ahead and put the grain in and reset the temperature. Okay, so I've got the water. I'm using a little over 5 gallons of water. I've got the water heating. Right now I don't have the Innova on at all. I'm using the stove for brute force heating. And I really just want to use the Innova for kind of fine tuning the temperature and controlling it. So right now, the Nova's off, burner's on high, and we're getting the water up to strike temperature. Okay, so I've got the mash running. My strike temperature was a little bit too high, so I'm sitting at 153 right now. So the Anova is circulating liquid, but it's not actually heating at the moment. And I've still got the burner on low, which I may turn off here shortly. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And so everything's running. I'm kind of watching to make sure the grain bag doesn't get pulled into the intake again. It seems okay, but you know, I'm watching it. I sort of adjusted the grain bag back a little bit to hopefully guard against that. We'll see if that works. Yeah, let me show you what it looks like here. So there we go. And so everything's running. So I'm doing brew in a bag, so I'm actually going to do a 90-minute mash. So it's going to be a while. Okay, so the mash is just about done. I'm going to do a 10-minute mash out at 170 degrees. So you can see I've got it set to 152 degrees, and I'm going to keep it set at 152, and I'm going to turn the main burner on. So that way the Anova will not have the heating coil on, and it won't be caramelizing. But I'll still have the circulation going, which will be nice. And then when it gets up near 170, then I'll go ahead and set the temperature on the Anova to 170 to keep it there. Okay, so the mash out's done, so I'm going to shut off the Anova completely. And wait till it stops running here for a second. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the grain bag out, put it in the colander. But before I do that, I'm going to remove the Anova and put it into a pot of clean water, because the coil's still going to be hot and I don't want anything caramelizing on the coil, or as little as possible. So I'm just going to put it straight into a pot of water to let it soak. So some time has passed, and the beer that you saw me mashing earlier is now fermented. This is it. It's one of the best beers I've ever made. The mash went pretty well. The gravity came out within 1 point of the predicted gravity, and that's with 75% efficiency. And so the mash went really well. I think I'll use it again, use the Sous Vide cooker again. So a couple things that I learned. Number one is only use the Sous Vide cooker for fine-tuning the mash temperature. So for all the brute force heating, just use your stove burner or your outdoor propane burner, whatever you're using. Secondly, you have to watch the grain bag to make sure that it doesn't get pulled into the pump intake. That I had some issues with that, so I just had to keep a close eye on that. And then thirdly, you have to really take into account the size of your pot and closely calculate how much water you need so that it falls within the minimum and maximum water lines on the Sous Vide cooker. So as long as you kind of follow those rules, it seems like you can get good results. Thanks for watching.